Disclaimer: This video was created with the intent to inform and inspire discussion. It is not meant to hurt or disrespect any individual, movement, or concepts. If you believe we have made any errors or misrepresented any ideas, please feel free to leave a comment or contact us via email. Your feedback is important to us, and we are committed to continuously improving our content. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most vital pillars of democratic society, freedom of speech. In this video, we'll explore what is freedom of speech truly means, why it's so important, and how it has evolved over time, the profound changes it has sparked, the challenges we face today in our digital era, and the body's pride and advantages and its serious drawbacks. Let's jump right in. Now, when I say the freedom of speech, I'm not just talking about the ability to utter the words, it's about the right to express our thoughts, ideas, and feelings without the restraint. Think about it as a foundation upon which our entire democratic society is built. It empowers us to challenge the ideas, share the new perspectives, and truly engage with one another, and each voice is matters, and together they create a dynamic evolving conversation that shapes our world. Conceptual definition is a fundamental right, and freedom of speech is a fundamental right, right. Imagine living in a world where every thought you had was locked away, where you couldn't share your opinions without fear of being silenced. That, in essence, is what the freedom of speech is all about. It's a power to express yourself fully and openly. It's not merely a luxury, it's a fundamental right that gives each of us the strength to the voice our unique experiences and beliefs. This right has been the catalyst for the social change and innovation throughout the history. Okay, let's now consider the legal backbone of this right. Around the world, the freedom of speech is safeguarded by some of the most influential legal documents. For example, in the United States, the First Amendment explicitly protects our right to speak freely. On a global scale, Article 19 of the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights plays a similar role, ensuring that this right is recognized and respected. These documents are not only a declaration of our freedoms, but also provide the guidelines setting the boundaries to protect against harm while still preserving our ability to express ourselves. When you see the historical legal test and the symbol of the justice, think of them as the guardians of our everyday conversation and debates. Let's move on to the philosophical underpinnings and the theoretical perspectives. Beyond the logs and the documents, the idea of free speech has been fascinately defended by some of the history's greatest thinkers. For example, John Stuart Mill, for instance, argued that the free exchange of ideas is essential for uncovering the truth and fostering the personal growth. He believed that through debate, society can challenge the old assumption and evolve. Today, scholars and political theorists continue to stress that open dialogue is critical for building a rational, progressive society. As you see, these portraits remember that they represent a legacy of intellectual courage, a commitment questioning and learning and growing together. Who is John Stuart Mill? John Stuart Mill was an English philosopher, political economist, and politician and civil servant. One of the most influential thinkers in the history of the liberalism, he contributed widely to the social theory, political theory and political economy, he conceived of liberty as justifying the freedom of the individual in opposition to the unlimited state and social control. And and another thing about freedom of speech is its intersection with the other civil liberties. Finally, let's look at how freedom of speech interacts with other rights. It works in concert with the freedoms like the press and the right to assemble and even religious freedom. These rights aren't isolated, they are deeply interconnected, creating an environment where ideas can truly flourish. When one of these rights is under the threat, it often impacts others as well. This interconnectedness is beautifully represented, reminding us that the robust public sphere depends on the strength and the balance of all our civil liberties. Now let's move on to why the freedom of speech is important. Having explored what freedom of speech is, let's now turn it to why it matters so deeply. In our democratic society, free expression is an engine that drives accountability, fuels the innovation, and nurtures the social justice. I'm going to show you how this right isn't just an abstract concept. It's a living, breathing force that influences every aspect of life from the politics to culture and even our everyday interaction. The first one is transparency, democratic accountability. At the heart of any healthy democracy is accountability. Freedom of speech allows citizens to voice the concerns, question the authority, and demand the transparency from those in power. Think about the role of watchdog in a community. Free speech is a watchdog for our democracy. And in terms of the cultural growth, free speech isn't just about politics. It's also the lifeblood of the innovations and the culture. When people feel free to express themselves, creative ideas are born, leading through the breakthroughs in art, science, and technology. Consider how many revolutionary ideas have emerged because someone was brave enough to speak out or share an unconventional thought. Uh, Now we move into the economic impacts and the market innovation. Surprisingly, the right to free speech is also plays in a significant role in our economical life. When businesses have the freedom to exchange their ideas openly, they can quickly adapt to the changing market conditions, improve products, and develop new technologies. This open dialogue spurs the competition, leading to the better services and products for everyone. And in essence, a marketplace of ideas drives not only intellectual innovation but also tangible economic growth. For many marginalized communities, free speech is not just a right, it's a critical tool for the survival and empowerment. It gives a voice to those who have historically been silenced and allows them to demand equality and justice. This isn't just theoretical. Countless social movements have transformed the society by harnessing the power of free expression. Now we move into the historical start and development of the freedom of speech. Now let's take a step back in time to understand how freedom of speech has evolved. In this section, we're going to trace its development from the ancient civilizations through the periods of the restriction to its resurgence during the Enlightenment and its vital role in modern democratic movements. Well, we can appreciate not only how far we've come, but also why this right remains so fundamental today. Origins in ancient civilizations. Let's start in ancient Greece and Rome. In ancient Greece, the public debates and open assemblies were the lifeblood of civic engagement. Citizens gathered to discuss and decide on issues that affected the community. Similarly, in Rome, rhetoric was highly prized both in the public arena and the legal settings. These early practices laid the groundwork for the idea that everyone should have a chance to express their views. The time of the Enlightenment and intellectual revolution. The Enlightenment was a truly turning point. Visionaries like Walter, Rousseau, and Diderot dared to challenge the traditional authority by advocating for free thought and open debate. Their ideas not only questioned the status quo but also laid the intellectual groundwork for many of the rights we enjoy today. This period was about shedding the darkness of dogma and embarrassing the light of reason and the inquiry. Now, changes brought about freedom of speech. In this section, we'll explore how the right to free speech has sparked the transformative changes across the various fields, whether in politics, or media, or technology, maybe a social policy. The freedom to express the ideas has had a profound and lasting impact. This overview is designed to prepare you for a deeper dive into these dynamic and far-reaching effects. Political transformations and revolutionary movements. Free speech has always been at the heart of political revolutions. When citizens are free to express a dissent, it paves the way for major challenges, whether it's the overthrow of oppressive regimes or the birth of the new democratic ideals. Think of the movements like the French Revolution or American Revolution, where an open debate and a protest were key drivers of the political change. Transformation of media and journalism. The evolution of free speech has transformed the media landscape dramatically. In today's world, investigative journalism and citizen reporting are powerful tools that help to expose corruption and keep power in check. These shift from state-controlled narratives to the diverse media ecosystem has enhanced transparency and accountability. This modern newsroom remind us that the free press is not just a pillar of the democracy. It's an essential guardian of the truth. Digital innovations by the freedom of speech. In our digital era, the impact of the free speech has been amplified by the technology. Digital platforms such as social media, online forums have democratized the communication, allowing every voice to be heard on a global scale. This revolution has not only changed how we share information, but also how we innovate and solve the problems collectively. The tech inspired the symbolizes the transformative power of digital communication in spreading the ideas and fostering the creativity. Modern era of freedom of speech and disinformation. As we shift our focus to the modern era, we enter a landscape defined by digital technology. Today, the way we communicate has been completely transformed. Digital platforms offer unprecedented opportunities for the free expression, but they also come with the challenges, especially the rapid spread of disinformation. This sets a stage for discussion how the modern free speech is both a boon and a challenge in our interconnected world. Let's move on to the digital platforms and the new public sphere. Digital platforms have redefined the public sphere. Whether it's through the social media, blogs, or the online forums, the barriers to communication have been drastically reduced. This means that every individual, regardless of their background, can now participate in the global conversation. This these visualize represent the world where a digital public sphere is constantly buzzing with ideas, debates, and exchanges. It's a remarkable transformation that we are all part of it. The impact of the disinformation. However, with this vast digital landscape comes a new challenge: disinformation. In the age of the rapid online communication, false narratives can spread like a wildfire, distort- distorting the public opinion and eroding the trust in institutions. The contrasting visuals reminds that while free speech has many benefits, it also demands a high level of responsibility from all of us to discern the fact from the fiction. It's a challenge we must address if we are to maintain a healthy discourse, and we moving to the regulatory and policy changes in a digital age. Governments and the policymakers today face the tough task of the balancing the right to free expression with the need to protect the society from the harmful misinformation. Crafting the effective regulation that do not stifle the innovation or open dialogue is a complex, ongoing process. The role of the algorithms and artificial intelligence. Another modern challenge is the role of algorithms and artificial intelligence. This technology help curate the content we see, but they can also inadvertently amplify the divisive or misleading the content. It's important to understand how these systems work because they play a significant role in shaping our digital environment. These illustrate the inner workings of these technologies, reminding us that behind every digital interaction, there are complex processes at work. Global perspectives on the modern free speech. It's important to recognize that approaches to regulating the free speech in the digital age vary widely around the world. Different regions, influenced by their unique culture, political, and historical contexts, have developed the diverse models for balancing the free expression with the need to prevent the disinformation. The global map emphasizing that there is no one size fits all solution when it comes to free speech in our interconnected world. Now we're going to discuss about advantages and disadvantages of freedom of speech. Free speech is often described as a double-edged sword, and in this section, we'll explore both its immense benefits and its potential risk. Understanding that this dual aspect, its a dual nature, helps us appreciate the complexities involved in safeguarding this right while mitigating its downsides. This overview invites us to consider the both sides of the debate. The first one is empowerment, innovation, and democratic vitality. On the one hand, free speech empowers individuals by giving them a platform to share their ideas and innovate. It fuels the creativity and drives the dynamic progress that underpins a vibrant democracy. When people feel free to express themselves, society benefits from the fresh ideas and innovation that challenge the status quo. The upward trending here are the perfect metaphor for the progress and vitality that a free expression brings to our communities. And the second one is protection and amplification of minority voices. On the other hand, the free speech is particularly crucial for marginalized groups. For too long, voices from the peripheries have been silenced. With the right to speak freely, these communities can advocate for their rights, share their stories, and demand the change. Uh, and the third one is accountability and checks on the power. An essential function of the free speech is to serve as a check on power. When citizens can speak out, they expose the corruption, challenge authority and practices, and hold the leaders accountable. This open dialogue acts as a safeguard against the abuse of power. Risks of hate speech and extremist ideologies. While free speech offers a numerous benefits, we must also acknowledge its risk. Unregulated speech can sometimes lead to the spread of the hate speech and extremist ideologies, which can undermine the social cohesion and even incite the violence. It's a stark reminder that while we cherish our freedom, it comes with the responsibility to ensure that our words do not harm others. We have to balance the public safety with the individual liberties. One of the toughest challenges for any society is finding the right balance between safeguarding the public safety and protecting the individual liberties. This is not an easy task, right? Crafting the policies that prevent harm without curbing the free expression requires a constant vigilance and a nuanced understanding. Final thoughts. As we come to the end of the presentations, let's take a moment to reflect on the journey. We began by defining the freedom of speech, explore its legal, philosophical, and global dimension, and then examining its profound impact on politics, society, and technology. This historical and contemporary overview demonstrates just how essential free expression is to our lives and democratic institutions. Future outlook and policy implications. Looking ahead, the digital revolution and ongoing social challenges are set to refine what free speech means for us. The new challenges will continue to emerge, and it's up to us, citizens, policymakers, and innovators alike, to ensure that this right remains robust and adaptive. The futuristic visuals uh, to think proactively about the policies we need to develop to safeguard our freedoms in a rapidly evolving the world.